Hello everyone, welcome to my channel on this wet gloomy day. I am Kyle and this is Vintage Red Diesel. The focus on today's video is this Cat 906M compact wheel loader behind me. This loader is a 10-year-old loader. It's a 2015 year model. My plan today is to replace injectors on here. I'm having some troubles with DPF, getting a little extra fuel and whatnot in there, plugging it up. Just actually recently cleaned that, so I want to replace injectors right away. I figured that they are dripping, getting raw fuel going through unburnt fuel, whatever that way. There's almost 12,000 hours on this particular unit. Other diesel shops that I have talked to in the past, I had worked on a high pressure fuel pump last winter, but anyway, when I was talking to them at that time, they said that the hours on this machine, on this fuel system, I'm actually doing quite well. Other things, it always seems to start good and run good, but when I start it up in the morning when it's cold, it always sounds a little bit rougher and choppier sounding than it used to when it was new. So anyway, I'm hoping to get them replaced. So I'm looking to replace them, trying to be proactive to get stuff replaced before any other issues occur. Hear of different stories of injectors that'll burn a hole in the piston when they start leaking, dripping, not spraying right, any of that kind of stuff on these modern diesel engines. Don't know if that's happening or anything like that on here, but like I said, I want to be proactive. To start with, I am going to get the top of this engine cleaned off, and then we'll take it in the shop and continue on from there. Alright, that makes things a little bit cleaner and easier to work on. I'm sure there'll be some other dirt in there that we'll find as we get into it, but this will get me started. Alright, top end is cleaned off really nice. That'll make it nice and easy to work on. In the meantime, I'm gonna let it drip from our undercarriage a little bit. It's amazing how much he drips after I do a little bit of work on the top end. Alright, let's have some fun. Now that it's in the shop, I'm ready to get going at it, tearing things apart. The injectors, here's number 2, 3, number 4. They're all the injectors are located under the valve cover. So I gotta remove the valve cover to do that. To get at the injectors, I should say. In order to remove the valve cover, I gotta pull off this air intake tube going between the turbo and the air intake. I've got breather lines that I gotta pull off of the valve cover, and I also gotta take off the breather filter. Just be easier to pull that off as an assembly. After that, I got this little coolant line here that I should be able to just disconnect, pop a couple caps in there to disconnect it there, pop a couple caps in and keep it from leaking, and a couple other little bracketry and tidbits to take off. And then after that, I should be able to get the wires unplugged, and oh yeah, I got my glow plug lines, a wire, got 2 in there. So anyway, we'll get all that stuff removed and then we'll pull the valve cover off and we'll get in there. Alright, I've got the breather filter is off. I got a couple other lines out of the way. I disconnected all the plugs for the DPF, got that out of the way, so now I just gotta disconnect the injector wires. Alright, you've got glow plugs, one on each cylinder. That one looks like it's going to be about the funnest to get to. It's kind of hard to get at. There we go. Now I got the boot off. Get in there with my handy nut driver. Spin them out. And pick it up without losing a nut. I have to set you guys down for a minute. That's a two-hand job. Alright, now I gotta pull their glow plugs out. Glow plugs are out. Now I'm gonna get the injection lines removed. Alright, now that the injection lines are out, we're ready to pull out the bolts for the valve cover. Hiding right under there. I think there's 10 total. 4 on each side, 1 on each end, so let's get them out. There's the underside of the valve cover. You can see the seals where the top of the injector goes through and the fuel injection line goes in. Alright, now I'm at the point where I can pull this fuel return line off. Connects on each injector. Then it goes through down there into a banjo fitting. And it goes to the fuel return externally out of the head. So let's get that return line off, and then after that we can pull the injectors. Alright, looks like each injector has its own hold down stud, but that plate in between there is for, I guess I really don't know, to be honest. Your guess is as good as mine, but anyway, the way it looks to me, I should be able to just pull those nuts off the top and the hold downs, and lift injectors should lift out. Alright, everything should be disconnected, that the injectors are ready to pop out. We'll see how glued in, sealed in tight they are. There we go. Alright, they all came out really easy, just a little nudge with a pry bar and they popped up, loosened up, and out they came. Let's go peek in the holes and see what they look like. There we go. A little bit of dirt to clean out, but not bad at all. A little bit with a injector hole cleaner and air compressor, and it should blow everything out, and we'll be set to go back together. Here are the injectors. You have to hold down. Let's see where I'm pointing here. Here's the hold down. It's a little rounded end washer that fits right into that hole there. This end here is rounded nice, so everything rotates, wiggles, moves in every direction it needs to, so it holds down the injector evenly on both sides. And the nut, I'm thinking that's just more of a so it doesn't give rotational spin and wear on them, and more of an even torque down. That's how I see it. Alright, I use a wire brush to clean up the little bit of carbon buildup on each hole. Alright, I got everything cleaned out and I'm ready to put the new injectors in. New injectors. I like to put a little bit of oil on the O-ring, that way it'll slide into the hole a little easier. There, it sits right into the injector, holds it for the rotation between the fork on the hold down and sits on the stud. And you got this little special washer that's rounded on one side and flat on the other. Fits right in there. Alright, I did put a drop of oil on the stud just to lube things up. It helps everything torque down a little bit smoother and more precisely like. Alright, I got all the nuts snugged up and I'm ready to torque them down. My book tells me to torque them down to 226 inch-pounds, give or take 13 inch-pounds. My math comes out to 19 foot-pounds, and that's well within range. Alright, they're torqued down. We are one day into the future. I ran out of time yesterday, so I continue on now. Right now I got the fuel injection, or not the fuel injection line, the fuel return line installed. I got to tighten down the banjo bolts, 93 inch-pounds. Injectors are in. Now I should really be set to set the valve cover on, but since I'm here, I think I'm going to check them valves too right away. It's easy to do. Valves get adjusted to 5 to 7 thousandths on both intake and exhaust valves. And just like that, valves are adjusted. If I'd have been thinking a little bit ahead of time, I should have done that while I had the injectors out. Been a little more room to work with, but I got it done. As I stated before, 5 to 7 thousandths is where the valve lash is supposed to be set at. They're in that 9 to 10 range overall, so they were getting a little bit opened up. Let's install the valve cover. Ah, shit. I thought the valve cover was going on a little bit difficult, but nothing jumped out at me till I had it on. But a word for the wise. Remember to take them black caps off your injectors first. That'll help you out. Alright, I have the glow plugs ready to go in. New seals on the ends, so I'll put them in. Glow plugs will get tightened 71 to 80 inch-pounds. Now we're ready for injection lines. Alright, now I'm ready to get these injection lines installed. I always clean them out with brake cleaner and an air compressor whenever I have injection line use. There, I got the lines in. The pair of lines for number 3 and 4, they're a little bit tricky to get in here between the EGR valve and the air intake, but I got them in. The click of success. On these injectors, there's numbers right up on there. Those are trim codes for the injectors. I will have to write them down before I plug them in because the plugs kind of half hide them. Yep. Alright, now that the 2-digit trim codes are written down, two digit, yeah. Anyway, if I can get it in, that's I did clean out this breather filter. There was a lot of oil in there. That's the reason why I was getting some oil sucked back through to the turbo. One thing I've always tried to do when I messed with hose clamps, whether it was on radiator hoses or intake hoses like this, or heater hoses, anything like that, whenever I install them, I always try and put the hose clamp back to where it was, so all the high spots and low spots sit back into the same spot. Just seems like everything always seals up better that way. I don't know if anybody else experienced that or not, but that's something I've always experienced. So I started doing that, and it seems like that cured loose or weeping hoses and whatnot after that. Some of the little things you pick up as you turn wrenches more and more. By golly, sweetness. Got this all back together. Injectors are in, lines are all hooked up, wires are tied back down again, all the plugs are in. So, I guess we should be able to, in theory, try starting it. First start will be a little rough because there'll be a little bit of air in the lines and whatnot yet, but the other thing that'll have to get done yet too, you saw me writing down the trim codes from on top of the injectors before, and see, like I said, when you plug it in you can't see them. Not that it's that hard to unplug them to get them, but roll them down. But I do not have the equipment to update the trim codes in the computer, so I got somebody else who's gonna come out and take care of that for me. But in theory it should run yet like this way to at least test it and make sure everything's gonna go. Then he'll come and take care of that, and then I should be good. Might not run perfect, but it'll still run. There we go. Sounds pretty good. Like I said, I'm going to have them update the trim codes in the computer, and then we'll test run it and see how it performs. Alright, the computer guy has got trim codes updated on it, so it should be ready to go. We started up this morning and see how it starts. Currently about 60 degrees outside, so I don't really call it a cold start, but we'll see how it starts up cold in the morning. Oh yeah, that runs a lot smoother now in the morning. You can hear the difference in the cab right away. Otherwise it just sounded kind of choppy and a little rougher sounding, not as, didn't purr as smooth as it does like this right now. When it warmed up, got a top rating temperature, it sounded a lot better then, but like this, cold in the morning, that's a heck of a lot better. Such a beautiful morning this morning. Alright, it seems to have done what it was supposed to do. Started nice, ran good, performed nice for me. Everything kept going the way it should. I guess I'm happy with it so far. Hope you guys learned something, enjoyed the video. I had fun doing this. I learned something in this video. I learned something doing this job as well. So with that being said, I got a couple other things to do yet this morning, and then I'm hoping to hit the fields and cut some hay. Skies are finally clearing out for once. We had a couple cloudy, gloomy days and just couldn't get much done outside. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.